Hey guys, welcome back to BackPocketGameReviews, and today we're going to talk about who's going to win E3. So a lot of you have seen all three of my E3 videos. If you have not, they will be linked in the cards and on the end screen of this video for Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation. Obviously, one of the big three is always the winner of E3 for who... And to define winning E3, because I get it, it's a convention, it's a presentation. Oh, how could you win that? It's who has the best presentation, who overall wowed the audience the most. So I'm sure a lot of you could guess at least sort of where my opinion lies right now. I'm gonna get this out of the way first, because this is gonna have the least amount of fanfare. I think Sony is going to have the least impressive E3. Before any of you come after me with pitchforks and torches, let me explain why. Sony has pretty much shown majority of their cards. We know we've got Spider-Man for the PlayStation coming. We know we've got the Uncharted expansion. We know we've got all these different things that they've already shown off and kind of shown the hand that they have. The Last of Us 2. So we know we're going to see more of that, but to the same extent, as happy as I am to see more of that, I already kind of know what that's going to be. Now, at E3 last year, Sony easily came away as the winner. I will hands down not argue that. But 2 years in a row, it's very hard to pull that off, especially when the year prior, they had two new pieces of hardware coming out. They had the PS4 Pro and the PSVR. Which means if they had all these teams working on stuff last year, chances are those teams aren't going to have the time to have a game ready by this year's E3. So I don't think necessarily you're going to see The Last of Us 2 come out at the end of this year. I think it might be early next year to maybe late next year. Spider-Man might come out this year, and I don't think Insomniac is only working on Spider-Man, but I don't think there's a lot of stuff left for Sony to show off that's in their personal portfolio. And I'll say it this way. Whenever someone goes, oh, we have exclusive DLC for this console, I don't give two craps about your exclusive DLC. That was literally the lamest thing you could have said. That does not win you people over. Oh, well, we get the Call of Duty maps a month before everyone else. Congratulations. Do you want a lollipop? Xbox 360 had that its entire lifetime. Now they have Battlefield. Now PlayStation has Call of Duty. It's crazy how things turn around. I'd rather have Battlefield though. Now, with that being said, as I've stated, I don't think Sony, without having new hardware on the horizon, is going to be able to pull apart and have that kind of a lineup this year again, when they really pushed last year for the PS4 Pro and PSVR. Now, I could be biting my tongue. They could wind up releasing a handheld and then having all this stuff for it. But I still don't think they're going to be able to outdo the other two companies. And this is where stuff gets really interesting, because Xbox has Scorpio right around the corner. We don't have a solid release date for Scorpio, and all we really know so far is the specs. We haven't even really seen Scorpio in action yet. So I think Xbox having this new hardware and Phil Spencer having stated that there are X amount of unknown franchises that they currently have in production that we don't know about, on top of everything else they probably already have coming, because Xbox didn't have a huge E3 last year. They showed off a new Forza. They had their stuff. They had Gears of War, but Gears of War was right around the corner already, and we already knew it was coming. We haven't had a Halo announcement outside of Halo Wars 2. There's so much stuff that Xbox still has to prove to really sell Scorpio, which makes me feel desperation can lead to innovation. Keep that in mind. So I think Xbox is really going to attempt to pull out the stops to really push Scorpio and what Scorpio can be, and to instill consumer peace of mind, so to speak. As a consumer, it's great that Scorpio will still sell even if it only runs third-party games beautifully with no exclusives. If it is the ultimate way to play, Destiny 2 or the Ultimate Way to Play, Rainbow Six, people are still gonna buy it because it's still the best console to run those on. Now, if they back it with exclusives, that's where stuff is going to become a lot more interesting, especially because its power ratio is a lot higher than what the PS4 Pro is. Now, again, PlayStation's had rumors with the PlayStation 5, which I've already stated I don't think will happen, but there might be a PS4 Pro Plus. I definitely won't be out this year. It would be like late next year if they wanted to do that, but I think that would really burn their consumers. So I think this is going to be Xbox's, we're gonna hit it as hard as we can, and we're gonna really try to ramp this up. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, Xbox is so far in the loss. Well, so that's the issue, is you're thinking this is a console war, and it's not. Xbox is profitable. That's all that matters to Microsoft. They are profitable. They're not losing the company money. They are making them money. Even if they were losing them money, how long did Windows Phone do that? So the point I'm making is this probably won't be Microsoft's last console. This might be their last console generation because they've been talking about how generations won't be like what they were and the traditional console generations are dead. But I really think Microsoft is going to pull out all the stops and they're going to bring some new franchises, new IPs. Maybe we'll see what happened to Scalebound, but I really think they're going to try their hardest to make sure that they walk away with one of the more impressive lineups, if not the most impressive lineup this year. And that's because they have new hardware coming and they're going to want you to buy that new hardware. They didn't make it just so you'd look at it, but they're going to really, really want you to have faith in that hardware. Now, that leaves us with Nintendo, who already has their new console out, which their new console is just selling like hotcakes. Everyone wants a Switch. Everyone. Even those of us that are like, I'm still not sold on the Switch, there's a part of us inside that goes, if I found one, I might still buy one. They're a really cool concept, and depending on the third-party support and the game lineup coming to them, they could be the next Wii. And when I say the next Wii, a lot of you are like, well, I don't want the next Wii. The Wii is the best-selling console of all time. It literally swept the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 last year. Like, it outsold both of them. Easily. Without even trying and with all of its shovelware. Because it did have a lot of user-friendly games, so it was able to capture the hardcore and the casual market, and it also had the stuff like Twilight Princess, which did pull us gamers in. It just didn't have enough to necessarily keep us gamers. So it had a very cool novelty effect, but it eventually wore off, whereas the novelty effect on the Switch, I don't have to take advantage of motion controls. I can sit there playing a full Legend of Zelda game that's easily, arguably their best game while I'm out at the grocery store if I wanted. So I think Nintendo is going to have probably the best. I think it's going to be easy between them and Xbox, is where it's going to be the most complex here. But I think Nintendo is really going to enter this and try to be a people pleaser. Now, as you know, Nintendo doesn't do an actual E3 conference. They do a Nintendo Direct. So there's an upside and a downside to that. When you're doing a Nintendo Direct, you're not showing someone in person the actual game running. To have that awe-inspiring, oh my god, they're actually pulling this off, and you don't have the crowd sitting there going nuts to draw up the hype for you, you have a more controlled environment, which has its ups and its downs. It is a little more direct to you, the consumer, but you kind of lose a little bit of the hype machine that's sometimes there. Not that Nintendo needs any help with the hype machine. We all know they're really good at drumming that up on their own. So, when you look at it, though, they're probably going to bring a Metroid over to the Switch. It's something that's been very heavily asked for. Whether it just be a tease of something that's coming next year, or whether it be a full-blown, hey, this might be out this year. Nintendo already stated that they're going to be making a lot more Nintendo-made games at a very quick pace, comparatively. So they're changing the style at which they develop, which was something they stated before the Switch release that they were going to do. I think you're probably going to see a Super Smash Bros. Port. You're going to see all these different Wii U ports probably coming just to hold off until all of the Switch exclusive games start coming out next year. And I think that's very smart of them because a lot of those Wii U games, there are only 10 million Wii U's sold. That's not a lot of Wii U's. That's literally like this. That's less than half of what Xbox One is sold right now. And they're losing to Sony by almost double. So yeah, that's pretty painful for Nintendo, especially when it had a whole year and a half, almost 2 years jump head start on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. So I think Nintendo is going to pull out a lot of stops. I think there's probably a lot of games that were already in development for the Wii U that are maybe already getting repurposed for the Switch. And I think that they're probably going to have one of the more impressive lineups solely due to the fact that this hardware is a make or break effort for them. I'm not saying that Nintendo would go out of business if the Switch didn't sell exceedingly well, because as we stated, with the Wii, they essentially printed money. Everyone owned one. Everyone had a Wii. It literally just sold exceedingly well. And it did well because of its price point, which was $250. Nintendo doesn't like to sell their hardware at a loss, and Nintendo also doesn't like to have expensive hardware. So I feel the Switch was still at a very good price. I get a lot of people who are like, oh, it should have been $250. $300 really isn't that bad. When you take into account that the Wii U sold for $300 for how long, and when the Xbox One came out, it was $500. When the PS4 came out, it was $400. This is $300, and I can take it on the go with me. There are tablets that cost more than that. An NVIDIA Shield brand new was $200. And it doesn't necessarily, so it has a good game lineup, but it doesn't necessarily have the backing of Nintendo. And NVIDIA is making the parts for the Switch. Now, if Nintendo were able to maybe make more Switches, which I get that they're having an issue with acquiring parts due to Apple also needing some of the same parts. So, Nintendo better flex them muscles. Show them how outdated Apple is. Be like, do you really want to back the wrong person? Just go to the suppliers. So, I think Nintendo is going to have a lot to prove, though, and a lot to win back the hardcore market, which is, I think, going to, again, cause desperation to lead to innovation and possibly cause them to literally have just this incredible game lineup. I mean, when you look at Nintendo's first-party games, it's very rare that Nintendo doesn't make an amazing quality, incredible game. I mean, I can at least pick out one game that's been garbage from all of the other developers, or all the other big three, but I can't necessarily give you something with Nintendo that's just complete garbage. Maybe that Amiibo game for the Wii U, the one that had the Animal Crossing like Mario Party. I heard that was kind of boring, but kids like it, I guess. I don't know. Not too sure. So that's kind of the point I'm making, though, is you've got two companies that have their backs a little more against the wall, whereas you have a company that's already in the lead and doesn't really have new hardware that we know about on the horizon. And even if they do have new hardware on the horizon, they're not set up to launch it this year, so you might get a slight little tease of a hardware piece coming from PlayStation. But you saw how well the Scorpio tease wasn't that talked about, because it's just a teaser. You can't show me what it's doing because you don't have actual hardware yet. So it'll be really interesting to see where this all takes us and how this really pans out for us as gamers. And I mean, no matter who wins, whether it be Xbox, Nintendo, or PlayStation, we should all be celebrating what games we are getting and enjoying them. Obviously, different companies are very catered to different types of games, whereas Nintendo tries to be more family-friendly, even though I think Metroid's going to have some killer first-person shooter online that's just going to be more like a T for teen style. Or how you look at Xbox and they cater more to the online crowd, or then you look at PlayStation and they cater more towards the single-player story and RPG crowd. So each one has the categories they're shooting after and who they're targeting, and it should be happy for all of us that we're all getting games that we're going to enjoy. but it will be fun to see who's going to win. I will attach a poll in the cards on this video. You all can let me know who you think will win in that poll, and good luck. May the odds be ever in your favor to all three of you. Guys, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like. Also, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button. You can also click that little notification bell. Every time that bell rings, I get a pair of wings. Not like, yeah, we'll leave that joke out. You guys will hate me for that joke. But guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon, and stick around.